But there is someone that may be on the hot seat, and you even question, Champ. That's one Kalen DeBoer, the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I was shocked with Alabama losing to Florida State, a team that was 2-10 last year, struggled. Thomas Castellanos. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
you talk about the quarterback, right? He went to
Yes,
Boston College, correct?
yes. The transfer from BC.
Gotcha.
Man, man. Alabama's rushing defense. They gave up 230 yards rushing. They lost that game 31-17. 31-17. The Seminoles, they were 2-10 last year. And I'm reading an article from Mark Slabach of ESPN. The season opening loss to the Seminoles, who went 2-10 last season, was the Crimson Tide's fifth loss in the past 10 games under DeBoer, who was hired in January 2024 to replace Nick Saban. First time in 24 years they lost in the season opener.
Man.
That was embarrassing.
Sad.
I mean, Tallahassee was supporting. They were partying, which is why they had that I think that $5,000 fine or something like that. But
They got fined.
yeah, they did get fined.
Rush the field. You can't rush the field no more. The fans can't rush the field anymore.
Right.
Oh yeah, I forgot from last year. Gotcha. I forgot. My bad.
But they're like, we don't care. We were 2-10 last year. We beat the number 8 team in the nation. This is our coordination. We might as well embrace it. We don't care about the fine. We'll pay for it. We'll make up for it. Let's just enjoy this moment right here. I don't blame them for that, champ. I can't blame them.
I don't blame them.
But big fella, champ, this was a really disappointing loss for Alabama. Hopefully they move on tomorrow. I know you enjoying this because, again, you are a Georgia Bulldogs fan. I mean, after all, this is going to be bulletin board material to help you win, as well as BRF. So I know you probably sitting back, probably having a good Angry Orchard or two, probably having some good margaritas, probably enjoying yourself, man. Big fella, your thoughts?
Kalen DeVore. There's 3 places on God's green earth that you can get your behind fired real quick. 3 places. 3 places. Wall Street. The SEC. And in Philadelphia. They will get you up out of there quick in those 3 places. I will say that again. 3 places you can get fired at real quick. Wall Street, Philadelphia, and the SEC. You can get fired quick, especially in the state of Alabama. They will get you up out of there with the quick. Hey, look, BRF, tell me I'm lying. Remember what happened to Gene Chizik?
Oh boy! Don't even remind me of Gene Chizik.
He won the national championship with Cam Newton. Almost less than 2 years later, boom, bye,
gone.
He was gone.
And they got Gus Miles on in 2013. They made it to the national championship.
And they did every year. They was calling for his head every year. So, because like Cam Newton said, and I hate to steal anybody else's bulletin material, the 2 most important people in the state of Alabama, well, the 4 most important people in Alabama, is not the governor, it's not the landowners, it's the coach of Alabama, the quarterback of Alabama, the coach in Auburn, and the running back at Auburn. So, yeah, you need to get, especially, and you better hope, because right now, Auburn has the best receiver core in the SEC right about now. So, hey, you in for some bumps and bruises. Hey, Kellen DeVore, man, look, I understand that you made it to the national championship with Michael Penix Jr. I really look. Thank you for delivering. Hey, you showcased him, and you was able to get him down here to Atlanta. Appreciate that. But you are not in the Pac-12 anymore. Alabama, the state of Alabama, Tuscaloosa, they don't have a pro team to cheer for. Their pro team is Alabama. They will get you up out of there quick. I understood that last year is his first year. That wasn't his team. Now you're slowly but surely breaking yourself into your own team. You cannot run this SEC powerhouse like you did the Pac-12. This is a whole nother league. This is a whole other league. And good. Look, only thing that I'm grateful for, man, is that we don't have to see Nick Saban every single year. So, hey, Alabama, you want to keep killing the boy? I signed him to a 20-year contract. Long as I ain't never got to see Nick Saban ever again across the road from Kirby Smart. Granted, y'all got us last year, but yeah, there's no more fear as far as Alabama is concerned, man. I think that he has this year and maybe a little bit of next year to showcase what he has. Because like I said, down south is not patient when it comes to football, especially SEC football. They'll get you up out. Hey, look, BRF, am I lying? Tell me I'm lying. Remember the first year Kirby Smart got here?
Oh, Jesus Christ. They wanted him going after the first year?
They wanted him going after the first game.
Yeah.
Because Mark Richt wasn't that bad of a coach. He just couldn't win the big one. But
exactly.
Yeah, they was already saying we miss you, Mark Richt. And it wasn't until the very next year that we made it to the national championship that people said, oh, okay, we see what you're doing now. Yeah, they did that. Georgia fans, I'm going to call you out, was doing that the very first year when Kirby Smart got there. I'm not lying. We got another Georgia fan right below us. They are not patient in the SEC as they are in other conferences.
Not at all.
Not at all. Dan Mullen had 2 10-win seasons down there in Florida. They got him up out of there.
Dan Mullen is not a coach there. And Dan Mullen's not in Florida anymore.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, down south, we don't play about food and we don't play about football. So, yeah, you got to get it together, Kellen DeVoe, because a lot of this stuff that you're doing right about now is not working. You don't have that defensive presence that number one.
Although it's benefiting you, hell, you enjoying that.
Well, the thing is, look, I'm gonna just be real. Yeah, you're enjoying it, but the thing is this: SEC is SEC. It's a cult. Let's just keep it all the way above. You know, although you don't want to laugh at the misfortune of others, it's funny, but it's just like, damn, okay. But you don't want to be laughing too long because they could come out there and beat your butt. You know what I'm saying? While you laughing. But and unfortunately they got us last year. Remember that blowout in the first half until we was able to come back with Carson Beck. You know, and we still lost the game.
I still feel like that was the regular season game of the year in 2024.
Yes, it was. So yeah, I mean, this is one game. Kellen DeVoe got to get it together quick because you can get fired quick in Alabama, man. And look, it's bad enough. Look, it's bad enough. People are already knocking you because you was coming from the Pac-12. Then you're coming into a legendary school like Alabama. Their standard is national championships. Their standard
replacing the greatest coach in the history of college football.
Yes. And look, when you're replacing a legend, it's kind of hard to replace that legend. It's very hard. Remember, although people don't even remember the last guy who won a national championship before Nick Saban, that's how hard it was to replace the legend. Coach Faust won a national championship in the strip game against Miami. People don't even mention him in Alabama hardly. The first two people they talk about is Bear Bryant, and they talk about Nick Saban. That's how hard it is to replace a legend, to the point where you can win a national championship against a team that had Warren Sapp and Ray Lewis on there. You beat them for the national championship, and you're still not held in the highest regard. They still only talk about Nick Saban, and they still only talk about Bear Bryant. So that's what you're stepping into. Going to a powerhouse school like Alabama, the Michigan, Ohio State of the South, and, well, the Notre Dame of the South when you talk about legacy. Notre Dame of the South when you talk about legacy. Legendary players in the NFL, legendary coaches, legendary Heisman. You're already stepping into that. Now you're replacing the GOAT. It's nothing less than college football playoff at this point. You have to make it at this point. And if you don't, hey, man, look, Alabama can pony up some money real fast. There are a lot of casinos around there in Alabama. Trust me. I've been to a lot of them. Down there in Montgomery, down there in Shorter. There's a lot of casinos down there. You can best believe them boosters don't mind hitting up that casino money to get you up out of Alabama. I'm just being real. So, hey, tread carefully.
BRF.
Even as a Georgia fan, I mean, do you revel a little bit in the misfortunes of Alabama? You do, but at the same time, as an SEC football fan, it kind of sucks because the SEC over the last 20 plus years, honestly, had built a certain aura around them as far as just the depth of the conference. Like it's like you talk all this talk as far as regular season comes, but when it comes down to bowl season and your best got to go up against our best, we're gonna smash you 10 times out of 10. And the SEC have built that for years upon years, and they've kind of lost that a little bit because like you're seeing you're seeing a team like Alabama struggle. You're seeing a team like Georgia make the college football playoff, but yet have Notre Dame go BTA on them. The SEC or isn't what it used to be, and Kalen DeBoer is really like he's kind of diminishing some of that aura, that invincibility that Alabama has just been able to obtain over these past few years with Nick Saban and building arguably the greatest college football dynasty in the history of the sport. And we talk about him getting to the national championship with Washington. That wasn't it, even though Michael Penix was the face of that team. Don't get it twisted. Caleb DeBoer built that offense just tremendously because it wasn't just off the arm of Michael Penix. He had the best receiver corps in college football. I mean, good gracious, every week when you rolling out Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan, and Jalen Pope on a weekly basis, somebody down to get thrashed week to week. When you rolling 3 talents like that with a quarterback like Michael Penix, all Caleb DeBoer had to do was just sit back, call the plays, and watch them boys do their work. That was guaranteed 35 a game. That Washington offense was something to behold. And that's one of the greatest performances I've seen in the college football playoff. What Michael Penix did to Texas in that semifinal game, putting up over 400. That's one of the greatest college football playoff performances I've ever seen since the inception of that tournament. So the thing, and honestly, but it's the same thing with Pac-12 coaches. They are able to recruit offensively. They are able to build these juggernaut offenses. But when it comes to the defense, good Lord, it's like the offense is Tarzan and the defense is Jane. Like straight up. It's like the defenses are just, they're bad. And it's like when you come to the SEC has a certain reputation when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. They thrive on being the big bad bullies when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. And I mean, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, just teams like that have just thrived on sending really good defensive talents to the next level. Heck, Kentucky sent defensive players to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Kentucky, shout out Corey Peters. Kentucky has sent out good defensive players to the next level. So I mean, the SEC has just really been basically a haven, just a haven of just defensive talent. And Caleb DeBoer has got to really adapt. And he was blessed coming to Alabama, and Alabama still having the talent they had on the defensive side of the ball. But now this is becoming his team. He's the face. It's his regime. He got to understand you can build your offense, but you need to be balanced. You need to have defense on lock when it comes to the University of Alabama and the SEC, because you're not the only one recruiting good defensive talent. You got a lot of colleges out there trying to get those boys too. So he really has to really put pedal to the metal on this, and he's got to understand, like, yeah, you were really good last year, and you did your thing. You have 1 or 2 subpar years, you'll be like Champ said, you'll be gone quicker than Gene Chizik in Auburn. 2 years after winning the national championship, homeboy's on the unemployment line because he couldn't keep it up. He couldn't keep it up. And that's just 2 years afterwards. He couldn't keep it up for 2 years. You don't wish a job loss on anybody. But being in the sports talk game, we have to realize and recognize realization. And realization is Caleb, the fact that they're like 5-5 in their last 10 games, that puts a real dark cloud over that university. And Caleb DeBoer needs to get it together and get his team in the mindset to improve and play better and play real, represent what Alabama football stands for. Because if he don't pick it up in the next 1 or 2 years, Alabama fans are loud, and they will be more than happy to yell until they put you on the unemployment line and they find somebody else who can get the job done with the talent that they will acquire at the University of Alabama. So he just needs to really kind of he got to get his players back on the right track. And I mean, it's Alabama. I mean, they're very capable of getting back on the right track, but it starts with him. As the head coach, it starts with him, and he's got to get those boys in line, ready to play week in and week out, because Alabama's still one of those schools. When you see them on the schedule, you're gonna bring your A game, because it's Alabama. They're one of the, if not the premier school over the last 10 years. Schools are gonna come to play them, and he's got to recognize that and get his team ready. Otherwise, he's gonna be right on the unemployment line, and them Alabama boosters gonna be trying to get ready to chalk up 10, 20, or however many $1 million they need to find the next big thing, and the next big thing at the head coach position, and get them right back to the promised line. Do not think for 1 second them boosters aren't looking at him with a side eye and worried about how this season is gonna turn out. They keeping eyes on him at all times. So he really needs to step his game up as a coach and get his players ready to play, because Alabama's one of the schools you do not want to mess with as far as like being subpar. He got to get it together.
All right, Harrison, what are your thoughts?
I wasn't paying. What was the thoughts? What was the
Alabama
topic?
losing to Florida State.
Oh, Alabama. You're nothing without Nick Saban. You're nothing without Nick Saban. You know what? I just felt like this whole transfer, like, I know this is all top, but I know this whole transfer portal, NIL money, this college football, college basketball thing going down the drain ever since. But I'm just happy that Bama's just gonna struggle even more. Going down the drain.
You love it. Well, you loving it. You loving it.
I listen. You know what?
No, I'm not gonna blame you. I don't blame you.
Listen. I fought with college football. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, seeing Alabama lose, it's like America wins, man. I want to keep it a stack.
I think America wins is when they see the Dallas Cowboys lose.
I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, that's being a Cowboys fan and a freaking Alabama fan.
Yeah.